Batman doesn't look like he's really enjoying it. He doesn't really look like he's enjoying like being Batman.
Compare him to Green Lantern, fucking Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
He looks like he's having a great time.
Yeah, or Deadpool, or like.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is like, you look at the Joker there, Heath Ledger's Joker. It's like, yeah, there's a villainous undertone, and he's like trying to kill people and blow stuff up and whatever. But he's having fun with it. Like even that bit at the end where he's got like he's got the criminals on one boat and the public people, civilians. I was gonna say the civilization, the civilians on the other boat. Like he's making a game of it. You know, he's like, yeah, right, it's evil, but he's like playing with it. He's having fun.
I really enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises though, but it's because I like that Batman loses.
Yeah.
He has to lose first, and this is something that I've seen recently, and now I'm gassed. Yeah, so you know, it's very easy to be on top of the world and motivated and all that shit when everything's going your fucking way, bro. It really is. Oh, my girlfriend's on my team. Yeah, like she said I was a good boyfriend yesterday, or you know, my mom and dad are proud of me. What about when everyone's telling you fuck you? Yeah, what about when everyone's telling you, oh, you're wasting your money on this business? What about when everyone's telling you, oh, you don't look like you've been working out, Sachin? Anyway, how do you feel about yourself then? Are you gonna be on your own team? It's fucking easy. It's so easy to be like on top of the world when the sun's out and all of that shit. That's what I like about The Dark Knight Rises, man. Like he gets beat down first, and not in a small way, not in a like, you know, not in a, oh yeah, you just lost the fight, don't worry. It's like properly like thrown down that well, and like, oh yeah, now you got to climb back up, but your spine's broken, you're completely fucked, and you're demoralized, you're pissed off as well, and you're watching your home burn.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are you then? Attention all nerds, calling all nerds. These are Batman socks. Today I'll give you a clue about what we're talking about.
Yeah, we are nerd life.
That's better than the other one that we've got.
Nah, I like the other one.
Well, welcome forward to another episode of
Nerd life.
Nerd Life Coaches. I'm Sachin.
I'm Alex.
And we are both professional life coaches that currently live in London. That's going to be changing soon, for me anyway. And we started this podcast because Alex and I have conversations about what we've been watching and what's the life lessons we're getting out of them. How are the stories affecting us? We're watching movies, anime, TV shows, we play video games. We get a lot out of this, and we have these conversations anyway. So we wanted to share them with you and see what you're getting from it and start a conversation. This is dialogue, not monologue.
Yeah, because it's like, for us, there's so many like profound, powerful messages in the stories of these shows and the tales that are being told, and it's like we like to pick out the learnings and then like see how that applies to us, and like you always relate to characters and things like that, and there's a reason why, because the people who write them, they write these stories and these meanings into the narrative, and it's like we're here to extract those with these conversations and to share them with you and to open the door for more conversation around these topics. So yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, stick around. Come check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Nerd Life Coaches. And today, as has already been spoiled, so we're going to throw the spoiler alert out anyway. We're going to be talking about the Christoper Nolan Batman Trilogy.
Yeah, shout out Nolan.
Yeah, shout out Nolan. Great director, man. Like, mate, I'm so happy he directed those movies, number one. Number two, Christian Bale, for me, is the best Batman we've had.
I'm Batman.
There's a lot of older people out there who will cry at me and say, no, it's Michael Keaton. No, it's not. It's Christian
Michael
Bale.
Keaton's great, and I've got nothing against him. He was a better villain, though. Remember, he was in Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Vulture.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, and for me, like, these three movies, like, I mean, there's so much to pick out of them, really. Good job we got an hour, right? So much to pick out of them. But I think, like, the main thing for me is just, like, I love the darkness of Batman. Like, I think the grit, and I think it's like that really comes across from like the way they depict the origin story to even like the final movie with Bane. I can't remember, Dark Knight Rises, where he's like in the cave thing and he's just like having to like, his body's battered and he's yeah.
What does that mean? Rise.
The grit in this is like when you bite into a spoonful of rice and you hear that, and you accidentally get a bit of grit in there.
Yeah.
That's the Batman grit.
That little crunchiness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Where do we want to start? Because I feel like there's so much. I want to try and not go off onto too many tangents because it's very easy for us to do that.
I have a proposal.
Opening offer.
Yes, opening offer. I have an initial conjecture. Joker, Heath Ledger Joker, was the greatest villain ever depicted in a movie ever.
100% agree.
No, I'm not.
And if anyone disagrees, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're not entitled to your own opinion. Fuck off.
Nah, I think. All right, let's start with him because I think like that. Yeah, I mean, you can't not give that a lot of time, right? And I think just the like, oh man, even the why so serious thing, like, oh man, that is just so perfect. It's like he's looking at, especially in that first scene where he goes into the Bruce Wayne's party thing. Was it Bruce Wayne's party or Harvey? No, it's Bruce Wayne, isn't it? And there's all those people in suits and they're all there like with their drinks, and he just bowls in like his purple gear and his hair all over the place, like his messy makeup, and he's just like, why so serious? And it's just like, it's pointing us at the fact like, yeah, like a lot of us live our lives so seriously, and when we get caught up in that serious nature, and I know when I do, like that's when I'm like putting myself through the mental marathon, you know. It's like I'm up against it. I'm taking everything super seriously. Like I need to be doing this, and I'm not good enough at doing that, and I'm not doing enough of this, and all of this stuff. And it's like there's a weight, there's a heaviness that comes to the seriousness. Whereas like the Joker, in his own way, obviously, is like representing like, just chill out a bit, have a bit of fun. Like you don't have to take things as seriously as you think. Like it can be a different way if you want. And yeah, like there's a villainous undertone to that.
There is, and I also like what we're getting at here. The seriousness is what takes away our enjoyment out of living. So like George Pransky in the game of, we've referred to that a few times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Game of life versus living audio. I guess like what I take from the Joker's why so serious thing. Yeah, okay, let's take the villainous undertones out of it.
For the minute at least.
For now. What I really take from that is, yeah, like if you take seriousness into a game that you're playing, like Mortal Kombat, you are usually not going to enjoy it. And the more seriously you take it, the less, like I find, the less well I perform. But I told you about a recent like win that I had in my business this week, and I can't see this slowing down if I don't take it seriously. Like the less seriously I'm taking it, the less I make it mean something, the more I'm just on track to keep going and like do great things.
Yeah.
But I think the temptation to get serious comes with like, okay, this is what's happened so far, I want more.
Yeah.
And more doesn't always equal more.
And do you know, it's really funny because like when you look at it, like Batman doesn't look like he's really enjoying it in those movies, right? And generally like any version of Batman, to be honest. But, like let's just stick with these two. He doesn't really look like he's enjoying like being Batman. Like he's super serious. It's like we want to stop all of it, and there's good reason for it. We're not like washing over that.
But like compare him to Green Lantern, fucking Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
He looks like he's having a great time.
Yeah, or Deadpool, or like.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is like you look at the Joker there, Heath Ledger's Joker. It's like, yeah, there's a villainous undertone, and he's like trying to kill people and blow stuff up and whatever. But he's having fun with it. Like even that bit at the end where he's got like he's got the criminals on one boat and the public people, civilians. I was gonna say the civilization, the civilians on the other boat. Like he's making a game of it. You know, he's like, yeah, all right, it's evil, but he's like playing with it. He's having fun. Like he looks like he's having way more fun than Batman, for example. And it's like that's what it's pointing me at. Is like, do you want to have that fun side to the way that you're living your life, or do you want to have like the very serious side where you're just focused on like, oh, I need to like make this happen and then make this happen and then like if I don't make this happen, I'm gonna measure myself against how it should have been or could have been, and then I'm gonna judge myself and beat myself down and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the Joker's just like, yeah, like I don't care if it's the criminals or the civilians who blow each other up, whatever. He's like, yeah, this is fun for me.
He's showing us something with that dilemma as well. It says, I don't know if he says this in the movie, or something like the city's gonna eat itself. And it's really interesting. Like he's given each of them the key, the detonator for the other boat, and you'd expect the prisoners to be like, all right, just kill everyone. And Tiny, you know, Debo,
Yeah.
he picks up the thing and throws it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge testament to humanity. It's showing us a part of ourselves. Like, no one's innocent. You know, like the people in the boat, they're like, oh yeah, like we're doing time and all that. And Tiny's like, I don't. Doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter what you lot want to do. Give it to me. I'll do it. You haven't got it in you to do it. And he throws it out. And the other boat is like judging them.
Yeah.
So on one side you got, oh yeah, like this is our redemption. Cool. Like we'll give our lives so that the innocent people can live. And on the other side, they're like, yeah, fuck those criminals.
Yeah.
And I find it really, is the Joker showing us something about humanity. When you're judging other people based on their mistakes and all that, you're also doing that to you. When you're condemning someone else to a fate that you think is appropriate, that's showing us something about how you treat you. And another thing that I love, I say this quite often, the Joker, the one line of dialogue that's my favorite out of many movies is Joker goes, I'm like a dog chasing a car. Even if I caught up to it, I wouldn't know what to do with it. And I feel like that's me in so many, I've had that so many times. When I was in Mexico, I was doing it with women and with money. When I started my coaching business, I was doing it with clients and money. I've done it with so many things, you know, like with the gym. I want to get to a certain physique or whatever. Once you got it, then what?
Yeah.
It's such a funny little thing. Like the dog is chasing the car for the enjoyment of chasing the car. That's it. And if there's an end point of I have to get there, useless.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like when you were saying that, like I've definitely noticed it, especially like for me, it's always with like business and money. It's like I think like when I get to that point where I've got X amount in my bank account or I've made Y amount, then what? Innit? Like what?
And then
I remember having a conversation once with an old client of mine, and he just left this really like well-paying job, like he was earning like multiple six figures in this job, and he just left and he started up a new company with some friends. And I remember him saying to me, it's like, it's really funny because I had all of this money that I was earning and I thought I was like living big time, and I was always scared to like earn less. And he's like, now that I'm actually earning less than that, like probably more than half, I think it was, he was like, the only thing that's different really is like, he's like, my relationship is the same, I'm living in the same place, my level of like happiness stayed the same, like just generally like the way I felt about things stayed the same. The only thing that was different is that I used to be able to afford Aesop hand soap and now I buy Dove. And I'm just like, it's so true. It's like that's it. Like we chase the car and then we think, oh, we'll get when I get to the car, then I'm gonna like do what? Like literally, isn't it? Like what's the end point that we're chasing? Because there isn't one. You know, it's just like, are we enjoying? And you know, going back to the George Pransky audio, George Pransky is a well-known coach in this particular type of understanding, and he's got this audio called The Game of Life versus the Living of Life. And what he's talking about is like, when you're enjoying playing the game, you're in the game for the enjoyment of playing it, not to get to the end point. It's like with, say, Monopoly, right? Here we've got a copy of it over there, which we haven't actually even played.
No, we said we would. Shit. It's Naruto themed as well. Come on, man.
Fuck, man. It's like you play the game not to like really. It's a long game, innit? It's not like, oh, play a quick half an hour. It's like you're dedicating hours to playing. It's like, enjoy the process of playing, like building up your thing, like buying the houses, like, you know, going to jail, like all of this stuff. And yeah, there will be an outcome at some point. But if you enjoy the process of playing the game, you're going to get a lot more out of it than if you're stressing and, you know, like we were saying, taking it super seriously. Like, oh, I need to bankrupt everyone else so I can win the game. Like, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be a torturous like 3-4 hours for you. And that's what we're getting here, is like, you know, the enjoyment and quality of life that you're living is, for me anyway, is far more important than the outcomes that you're creating as a result of that.
And do you know who fucks up on that the most?
Who?
Maybe not the most. Ra's al Ghul or Liam Nelson. I can't remember what his name is.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, mate. He's on like, oh yeah, like, you know, fuck you, and I'm gonna destroy the city and all that. And I get where he's coming from. It's more of that Thanos flavor, you know, more of that apocalypse type character. But it's this misguided thing of like, okay, this is terrible, I'm gonna wipe everything off, start again. And it's lazy, you know, like Renaissance and Revolution are very different. Revolution is like, yeah, revolution, burn it all down, whatever. Renaissance is a revolution of the mind. You gotta burn all of this down, all of the bullshit that you believe, and then build it up again. And then that's what he doesn't want. He maybe he does, I don't know, but like he's saying we gotta have revolution in order to have Renaissance. And I really like this idea. He is living in the misunderstanding of I have to do these things because the city is fucked. And Batman's like, nah, there's good people around, like chill in it. And he's like, no. And I think we do this with ourselves. Where I'll speak for myself. I do this with myself. I'm very hardcore about some things. Like, no, I gotta do this, and then I can have this. And it's a lot of like extremes. And Ra's al Ghul character is showing us that like there's a toll that is taken on you when you're living in extremes. And Batman, like, yeah, cool. He gets battered and he's, you know, he has to work hard and fight Ra's al Ghul and all that. But I think Ra's al Ghul is not fighting on the side of love. He's fighting from fear. Yeah. Whereas Batman's fighting from love, and it's totally different.
Yeah, and you can see that like the way it's the approach to the thing. Like they basically want the same thing, right? Batman wants to rid the city of crime and, you know, clean it up, and Ra's al Ghul basically the same thing, but his approach to it is very different. It's very like, yeah, no, but we have to like change everything. We can't have things the way they are. Like it's never going to be good enough. Like we need to start again. Like da-da-da. Whereas Batman's like, no, like we can create this place and change it through a very strange version of love though when it comes to Batman, but like it is coming from a good place. And I think that's the point for me, is like, where am I coming from in anything that I do? Am I coming from fear? Am I coming from worry? Am I coming from scarcity? Or am I coming from love and compassion and peace and, you know, a wholeness? Because it's very different. You can do the same things, but the approach to the thing becomes different. And I've seen like when I'm coming from like, you know, let's say going to the gym from a place of like, oh my God, if I don't go to the gym, then, you know, my body's gonna like be decrepit and whatever when I'm older. Like, yeah, it feels like a slog to go like, and you know, I'm, you know, really forcing myself, and then I'm judging myself when I don't go. Whereas when I'm coming from a place of like, actually, I just want to take care of this vessel that I'm blessed to be able to move through the world in, and I go to the gym to treat it well and to keep it in, you know, tip-top shape, you know, keep it maintained well, then it becomes an act of self-love rather than an act of like, I have to do it because of this. And
then the results are different.
Yeah, you enjoy it. And I remember listening to who was it? I think it was Tim Ferriss one time. Was it Tim Ferriss? I'm pretty sure it was, where he was saying that like he basically got into the best shape of his life, and you know, he's like not in bad shape, right? He got into the best shape of his life when he started training in a particular way with a group of friends. And they were basically training for fun. One day they'd go and do like, you know, just body weight only. And then they'd do like this other, you know, thing. And then they go and do this other thing. And he's like, I got in my best shape of my life because I was just doing it for fun rather than because of the outcome. And he's like, the outcome came as a result of me doing it consistently because it was fun for me. And it's such a game changer. Like
fun story about Tim Ferriss. He entered a kickboxing competition. I think it was kickboxing or something like that, and he won the tournament. And he won it in a way where he read the rule book, because he was like, I haven't trained for this. I don't know what the hell's going on. And in the rules it says if one of the contestants leaves the circle or the ring or whatever they had, they're disqualified. And he was up against these really small guys. He's a big American dude. And so he would just like do this, walk up to them, just push them out of the ring. And everyone got so annoyed that he won. Like no one clapped for him when he won. I just thought that's a really funny story.
Yeah, I like that. But it's you know, it's playing by the rules, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently.
You know what's fun about this conversation about rules? When we look at Bane, yeah, like, do you remember that bit? Like, do you feel in charge?
No, you stay here. I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
Yeah.
You know, like, I found that really funny. Like, the person on the plane who's like, hey, I'm in charge here. It's my kidnapping or whatever, my hostage situation or whatever. And Bane's like, yeah, we don't play by the rules. That's not how it goes down here. And as a villain in general, there aren't many rules that you can write for Bane. Like, what we gonna do for him? He's this way, and that's what makes him like likable as a villain, isn't it? I like that a lot.
Yeah, and you can even look at Batman for that, right? He doesn't really play by the rules. Like, he's like pretty rogue, and like he's probably like the biggest vigilante hero. Really, like, there's probably someone else that I'm not thinking of, but like, just with what I'm going with right now, like he's going against everything that other people are saying. Like, he's doing things, and the police are like trying to like chill him out, and like he's going against the rules, because he's like, at some point you have to step over the rule book, right? And it's like, for me, like, the rule book was the rule book of how I was living my life, the rule book of how I was seeing myself, the rule book of I'm not good enough, you know, I can't achieve this because of that, or I can't be this way, I can't be happy and live a peaceful life because I used to be depressed. And these are the rules I was living by. And it's like, actually, when I readdressed the rules, I was like, it doesn't really make much sense anymore, you know? Like, it doesn't make sense to be living by these rules. I can just scrap them and I can write new rules. I can live happy, I can, you know, have a good relationship, I can have a good relationship with myself, I can be in good physical condition, I can, you know, earn decent money, I can run a business, I can do all of these things. It's like, I can be all of these things. And it's like just scrapping up that rule book and readdressing it the same way. Like, Tim Ferriss is probably looking at that rule book going like, this doesn't make much sense, because I don't actually have to do anything, I just have to push people out of the circle. Like, it doesn't make sense, but if you want me to play by the rules, I will.
That's one thing. I was interviewed recently, and by our good friend Rajni at Shape Coaching, shout out to you. And I was saying about when I was telling my story, like, there was a turning point in my life in 2014-15 where I started contemplating death on a regular basis. And I was like, hold on a minute. If we're all going to die in a very relatively short period of time, why am I following these rules that have been set out for me? Like job, marriage, children, dead. Why am I going along with it if it doesn't feel right for me? And then a lot of people have said the same thing, like, oh yeah, this doesn't feel right for me, but they still keep playing by the rules because they think that's all there is. And I like this with, like, Batman showing us you can go completely rogue and still be down for a good cause. And I think you see that with a lot of different industries. Like, look at Apple, yeah? They're I don't know, like, I don't know what good cause they are, but they're doing some pretty rogue stuff with phones and shit.
Well, I mean, they're I don't know, the good cause originally was like just breaking up the normal sort of boringness and like appealing to a different type of person. Like, you know, having technology doesn't have to be this like super serious thing. It's like fun, and it was for creatives, you know, it's for people who didn't fit in the box kind of thing. And yeah, you're right.
I really enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises though.
Yeah, I think that's quite good. At first I didn't really enjoy it. I watched it probably, I reckon 6 months ago or something, and I was like, actually, this is a lot better than what I thought, like what I remembered.
But it's because I like that Batman loses.
Yeah.
He has to lose first, and this is something that I've seen recently, and now I'm gassed, yeah? So, you know, it's very easy to be on top of the world and motivated and all that shit when everything's going your fucking way, bro. It really is. Oh, my girlfriend's on my team. Yeah, like she said I was a good boyfriend yesterday, or, you know, my mom and dad are proud of me. What about when everyone's telling you, fuck you? Yeah, what about when everyone's telling you, oh, you're wasting your money on this business? What about when everyone's telling you, oh, you don't look like you've been working out, Sachin? Anyway, how do you feel about yourself then? Are you going to be on your own team? It's fucking easy. It's so easy to be like on top of the world when the sun's out and all of that shit. When you got a bit of a flabby belly going on, or, you know, like you haven't got as much muscle definition as when you were kickboxing. Just don't know who that's relevant for. If you're, you know, your monthly income went down a little bit, and you're concerned about whether or not you may have to pay certain bills that you want to pay, that you're looking forward to, who the fuck are you then? That's what I like about The Dark Knight Rises, man. Like, he gets beat down first, and not in a small way, not in a, like, you know, Not in a, oh yeah, you just lost the fight, don't worry. It's like properly like thrown down that well and like, oh yeah, now you got to climb back up, but your spine's broken, you're completely fucked, and you're demoralized, you're pissed off as well, and you're watching your home burn.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are you then? I think this is, yes, it's an extreme example, obviously, but it's a very good wake-up call for things aren't always going to go your way, and nor should you want them to.
Yeah, and it's like, can you have the bounce back from that? You know, there's this phrase that they used to be used in football, like, do you have the bounce back ability?
Ooh.
You know, like, can you bounce back from when the chips are down? You know, do you have the fight in you? It's not even fight in that sense, but like, do you have the heart? Like, do you have the like that deep something in you to like actually turn that around? Because it's easy to get in the spiral. Like Batman, like, or he was more Bruce then, isn't it? Like, than Batman, but he was like, you know, he was in the bottom of the pit, literally. Like he could have just stayed there and woe is me, like spiral out of control, like just I'm condemned to this for the rest of my life. And like I've got that desire, that burning desire to actually do something about this. And it's like, one of my football coaches back in the day, like, one of the biggest lessons I got from him, and he was sick for this, and I love him so much for this. He used to say, like, whenever because we were a good team, innit, so we'd win quite a lot of football matches, and every time we lost, we'd be pissed, and like there'd be some times where we'd lose like 2-3 games, or like draw a couple of games, lose, and we'd be like, what's going on? And we'd all be like, you know, questioning ourselves, like, are we not as good as we thought, and stuff like that. And he would always say to us, like, look, this is a good thing, because you learn more from the losses than you do when you win. When you win, it's easy to not see the things that aren't going well. But the second you lose a game of football, he's like, you learn a lot more from the losses than you do the wins. And this is like life lesson 101. It's like, when you're losing, in inflatable commas,
we gotta find the pump for these inflatable commas.
When you're losing in life, are you seeing the learnings in it to then move you forward? Because there's more value in the losses than there is when you're up high and you're winning. And it's like, I've seen this in so many areas of my life. Like, if I didn't have the depression that I had when I was younger, I wouldn't be where I am now. You know, I learned so much from that period about me, about just personal growth, about what can be possible, you know, things that I can do, a different way that I can live, that I started to live into it, you know. And the same with, like, more recently, when things aren't going your way, like I said, in business, or, you know, relationships don't seem to be going the right way, you learn a lot more about yourself, because it's easier to turn your back on those things and run away. Like, I've had thoughts, like, in the recent months of, like, maybe this business isn't for me. Maybe I should pack it in. Like, what's the point? Maybe I should just go back to getting an office job where it's easy and I get my monthly paycheck and I can enjoy my weekends and I can get my 5 weeks of holiday a year.
Yeah, why not?
My sick days. I can enjoy a sick day without worrying about I'm missing out on earning money. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I've had thinking like that, but then actually, like, no, I learn a lot more from, like, who am I being as a business person, as a person in general in that moment? Am I willing to turn my back on the things that I really believe in, or am I willing to keep going and learn from the losses, as my football coach back in the day, shout out Danny, used to say? I
think there's this is really what separates the wheat from the chaff. You like that one? This is really what fucking time it is, man. You know, I was, where was I? I can't remember. I was listening to something that someone was saying, and I think it might have been Werner Erhard. Shout out Werner Erhard, 88 years young. He was saying something like, oh yeah, it was that Orphan Annie thing. He goes, oh yeah, everyone loves a good Orphan Annie story, don't they? And this woman's like, I feel like shit now. Then he's like, good, feel that. And then what do you want to do after? Like, the loss, or the, like, perceived losing is so good for us, man. There's a lot of weight that I'll put on certain losses because I'll make them mean things. Whereas, like, if I only ever made losing mean that I'm learning something, then you only win or you learn. And winning doesn't have as much learning in it than learning does. Yeah,
and even look at that. You win or you learn. You can't lose.
Yeah, so
if you win, you win. If you learn, you learn. It's still a win. You can't lose that way. And go on.
That's how I became much better at Mortal Kombat, by the way, just so you know.
You win or you learn. I was gonna say, you know, the captain. I can't fucking. You know, I'm terrible with names. What's his name? Dude with the mustache, the policeman.
Oh, Gordon.
Chief
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon. There we go. That's him. I love him as a character because he's like, what he's showing us is like, what's the cause that you believe in? Like everyone's like, he's going out of his way to like back Batman, and everyone's like, obviously a lot of people don't know it, but like, if they found out, they'd be like, you can't be doing that. You're the commissioner. You're like the chief around here. Like you're backing this vigilante to help you. And he's like, no, I so believe in the cause and what he represents and what he can help us achieve that I'm gonna back it, because my belief in the cause is stronger than your doubts. And it's like, what's the beliefs that I strongly, you know, wanna live into that are stronger than the doubts that I have about stuff. It's like, what's that phrase? Don't doubt the
dream, doubt the doubt.
Don't doubt the dream, doubt the doubt. And it's like, I see that, and it's like, you know, if I really want to go on, you know, a campaign of like, you know, helping improve the mental health and raise the consciousness of people in the world, I'm going to believe in that way more, which I do, than the doubts that may come with it. Like, oh, am I good enough? Like, can I really do it? Do I have like the capacity to do this stuff? Like, but you know, all of the doubts that will come with it, they're not outweighed by, for me anyway, by the belief, because I believe in the cause. You know, again, reason why we've got this podcast, right? We believe in the cause. There's profound learnings in these things that we want to share and open up conversations around, so we keep going with it. We could easily be like, oh yeah, like it's been however many episodes, like we're not getting as many views as we'd like we're not that we could.
Oh mate, I heard this statistic, most podcasts stop before 12 episodes.
Yeah. Shout out, this is episode, I don't know what episode number this is, but whatever
we're
it
well
is,
beyond 12.
Yeah, beyond 12.
Well, we've recorded well beyond 12.
Yeah, exactly.
But so this guy was talking about podcasts being successful. He's like, dude, if you just stick to it for 50 episodes, you're now in like the top 1 or 2% of podcasts in the world. And the longer you keep it going, the more like likely you are to have it pop.
Yeah. And
I think this is the same thing. Like, where are you coming from when you're creating anything? Am I creating from, what's that? It's towards or away motivation. So away motivation is I'm going to the gym because I don't want to get fat. Towards motivation is I'm going to the gym because I love my body. And I think this is what we have. We have towards motivation for this. We're going towards a world where we're unifying nerds everywhere with these lessons.
Nerd life.
Calling all nerds.
Calling all nerds. We should get like the Batman thing with like the Nerd Life logo in it.
We'll shine the Batman symbol, but the Nerd Life symbol.
When we do our first live show, we'll have that outside, like shining up in the sky.
Yeah, you want to know where it is? Here you go.
But yeah, so Commissioner Gordon for me, man, he's just like, yeah, he's the guy for me in those movies, because he's just showing me so much of like, do you believe in the cause? And if you do, fucking show it.
I like Batman's version of that too. So you remember when Harvey Dent puts Batman's girlfriend in the fucking fire thing?
Yeah.
And she dies, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Batman's like, all right, I know what time it is now. I'm gonna fuck your ass up. But he doesn't kill him. Yeah. And the cause is like, he says this to Robin in a bunch of the animated movies, and he's like, yo, if we kill them, we're not teaching anyone any different. Yeah. We're the same as them. The reason why we do this vigilante thing is we're stopping them without killing them to show people there's a better way. And I think I've been having this conversation with a couple of people recently about self-indulgence. Why are we saying or doing certain things? For example, they say communication solves all problems in relationships. Yeah. Yeah. Is where the fuck are you communicating from? Yeah. So if you're communicating from, well, I feel angry that you said that's self-indulgence. And that's what Batman's not willing to do. He's not willing to kill Harvey out of self-indulgence. He's like, nah, like, that's just selfish. And I think a lot of like communication, especially in relationships, can just be selfish. Yeah. It's literally like, I feel this way. You've made me feel like this because I got superpowers apparently.
Yeah. No, but it's true. And it's like, you know, the relationship thing is like a lot of traditional relationship, you know, work is like, the more you communicate, the better it is for the relationship. But not if I'm communicating from a place of like, I'm pissed off, I'm better than you, like you don't deserve me, I'm right, you're wrong. Like if I'm communicating from that place, it's not, no matter what I say, it's not going to be better. It's not going to make anything better, because it can't, because it's where I'm coming from. Whereas if I'm coming from a place of like love, compassion, understanding, I can say similar types of things, but they'll be felt and heard very differently because of the place that I'm choosing to come from as I'm saying them.
Even if you said the same words, I feel hurt from understanding to I feel hurt from fuck you. You feel the difference massively, man. I said this to my mom recently. I was like, why do you look forward to hanging out with me? Because I'm moving back for a bit. And then she goes, I think it's because I know that you're not going to tell me off. And I was like, fuck it hell. I feel the same way about her. Even I'm going to get more tattoos at some point. I know she's not going to like it. And I don't think she's going to tell me off.
Yeah.
It might just be and that's it.
Yeah.
And there's like a real foundation of love, trust, understanding, and like free will. You know, like you're going to be your own person. I'm not going to like some of the stuff that you say or do, and I'm going to choose to love you anyway. And there's this thing, and I'm really seeing this to be true more and more. The downfall of all relationships is the need to be right and making the other person wrong.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. And it's like, look at what's his face. Why am I so bad with names, man? The butler.
Alfred.
He puts up with all of Bruce's shit.
So now you're trying to set me up with a jewel thief.
At this point, I'd set you up with a chimpanzee if it brought you back to the world.
He puts up with it. Like, he does give him a word every now and then. But
Yeah, he does.
most of the time, he puts up with it, right? He does give him the... Yeah, fuck, I can't even think of bloody actor.
Master Bruce.
What's the actor? Fucking
English
guy.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. He's like, Master Bruce, like, and he's like, tells him off, but like, he's still putting up with his shit, right?
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, some men just want to watch the world burn. Great actor, though.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you look at him as a character, like, he's basically enabling a lot of Batman's shit, like a lot of it, right? And it's like, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. Maybe it's good for the character because he needs someone to like take care of him sometimes. But like, it's also like he's creating him as like, you know, I don't know, like, I need you to know that I'm here, or like, do you know what I mean? There's like to me there's like a bit of a weird thing in that relationship and the way that he's just like puts up with his shit instead of just being like, dude, look, it's not fucking about, like, I get what you're about, but like, you know, think a bit more seriously. You got a business to run. Don't need to be running around at nighttime doing all this crazy stuff. Like, he's like, dude, you're a fucking psychopath. Like, you're a grown ass man. You're dressed like a bat. You go out in the dark. You're living in a cave, and you're going up beating people up on the street at nighttime. Like sort it out, kind of thing.
This is why I think there's not really much difference between Batman and the Joker except for their ethics.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I think that, and you know, coming back to the movies, I think that's the whole thing, right? Is like, especially in the Dark Knight, it's like that's what it's showing you. Like, is there really a difference? And I think the Joker even says it in the movies. Like, there's not a difference. There isn't really a difference. But yeah, we're the same, and it's true. They are, but the ethics behind it is what makes it different. And I think that's, man, when you think about that, like, on so many levels, how that ties into just generally into society, the ethics behind what people do, like. It's the only difference in what makes anyone
drug dealers and the pharmacy.
Yeah.
Same thing. The ethics are different. The pharmacy is going to give you things that are legal but could still kill you. The drug dealer is going to give you stuff that's illegal that could still kill you. Except for weed and mushrooms and LSD, probably, if it's real. This the same thing to me. You know, I remember this woman messaged me on Instagram a long time ago, and she goes, Sachin, I need your help with something. I go, yeah, what's up? She goes, can you tell me why bad things happen to why do good things happen to bad people? I'm like, well, first of all, what are you talking about? So I said to her, just call me. So I said to her, give me a definition of good things. She's like, well, for example, someone being able to pay their rent, it's a good thing. Okay, fine, I can understand why you're saying that. And I said, give me a definition of bad people. She goes, drug dealer. I said, all right, cool. You ever considered that the drug dealer is the same as Tesco? And it just completely like went over her head. She said, what the fuck are you talking about? How is it the same thing? And I explained it to her. Tesco sells Sudafed and ibuprofen and all these sleeping pills. You take 20 of those, last headache, carry on. Yeah, you're done. The drug dealer You smoke a bit of ganja, it's the same as taking Sudafed. You do a lot of cocaine, same as taking all the sleeping pills. You're going to die. So you're classing Tesco as, oh, it's neutral, it's a supermarket, and the drug dealer as, that's a bad person. You're missing the point. And good things happening to bad people, good thing doesn't exist, it's neutral until you put the story and the ethics on it. Bad person, same thing.
Yeah, but even that, like, you look at, say, a drug dealer, right? Let's bring it back to Batman as the analogy, right? You look at, let's say, trying to think of like Bane, right? Yeah, like bad person, right? Generally speaking, but actually, when you look, like, the reason he's doing the things, it's coming from protection, from, you know, wanting a better, I don't know, lay of the land or whatever. Like, does that really make him a bad person, or is the way that he's doing things making him a bad person? Because his like you said, the ethics is maybe a little bit out, you know. But it's like it's there's some people who don't think he's a bad person because otherwise they wouldn't follow him. Same with Joker, right? He wouldn't have all of like his cronies around him if they thought he was such a bad person.
They're following him out of fear.
Yeah, or even Batman. How many people think that Batman is a bad person? Like, he's a vigilante, he's this, he's that, he's the other. Commissioner Gordon, Alfred, Robin, Catwoman,
Dick Grayson,
Dick Grayson, they all, even Harvey Dent, right? They all like, oh yeah, like he's good. Like, so it's so subjective. It's just like, how are you willing to look at the person? Are you looking at like what they're doing and how you're labeling it, or you're looking at like what's the reason they're doing it? You know, it makes all the difference.
I think so. And this comes back to like politics. Certain people will follow certain politicians or support certain politicians because to me they're all the same, but just like their ethics are different. So some people will look at Donald Trump or whoever. I don't know who the popular people
we're
are
out
now.
of our depth here with the politics.
Yeah, we are. All right, we'll fuck that off.
Who else we got in the Batmans? We got
Riddler.
Ooh,
Oh, but that's in the Robin Pattinson one.
it's the new one.
And Jim Carrey as the Riddler was one of the greatest portrayals of anything ever.
Oh, that's a great movie. Is that that's Michael Keaton Batman, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Is it Keaton?
Riddler and Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I loved that movie. Okay, we're getting out of the Nolan trilogy, but still.
Who else we got?
Quality.
Nolan trilogy. We've got
Scott, what's his name? Scarecrow.
Scarecrow. Yes.
I was about to say Scareface.
Scareface. Well, it is quite scary. Scarecrow.
I like that fear toxin thing, yeah? So, derived from one of the greatest things ever in the world ever, Raiden from Mortal Kombat says, the only thing that can defeat you is your own fear. And I love that Scarecrow has weaponized fear, because it's already weaponized.
Yeah, 100%.
In our lives, like, we're scared of a lot of things, and I personally don't want to get rid of fear because it serves us to an extent. And then like I heard this thing recently. I know I'm going all over the place. I heard this thing recently with Devin Banderson. Shout out Devin Banderson, the game changer coach, go-to mind coach for the NBA. He sent me something on Instagram. It was a reel, and someone was giving like a one of them talks when people are graduating. He goes, if you want to look for the genius in the room, look for the person who's the most kind. If you want to identify an idiot, look for the person who's the most cruel. Because being cruel is like, oh, you're pointing out someone's differences, you're scared of them, so you start dissing them for those differences, and your pathways in your brain are just wired from fear. You haven't evolved past it. Whereas the kind person has evolved past the fear and has created new neural pathways in their brain to get rid of the fear of unknown, different, and other, and create like connection with someone. And I think this is why, like, Batman, when he's under the influence of the fear toxin, what's the main thing that comes up? Is bats, in it. Even though he's weaponized the fear and he's like, oh yeah, I'm cool with bats now. Like, there's still undertones of what he's scared of in there. And I think like this speaks to a lot of, for me, like my away motivation was, I'm scared of having a mediocre life and a lot of bullshit that I don't want. So let me run as fast away from it as I can. It's the fear that's motivating me. It has been for a long time. Now it's not. I just talked to my mom and dad earlier today, and I said I'm gonna take you on holiday next year. But if we're going to Japan, you both of you better be eating meat. Otherwise, a waste of fucking time. Might as well go somewhere else. That's a towards motivation that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, the weaponizing of fear, because it's like so much of what we're shown and seen doesn't even make sense. That we're shown and that we see is what I meant to say. is marketing people, or like advertising, or like it's all weaponizing fear. Like it's people
and sex.
Yeah, all of it. But even that, it's like you're missing out on something, right?
Yeah.
It's still fear based. It's true. It's fear based, and it's like I know when I'm living into those fears and I'm buying into the fears that I have. Fear that I'm not going to be able to make enough money, fear that I'm not going to be able to make my relationship work, fear that I'm not going to be able to make my business work, fear that, you know, my health is going to deteriorate, fear that I'm going to die or whatever, right? It's like my life starts to become really, really small. It gets narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower and leans more to safety. If I stay in safety, then I don't have to worry about the fears because I'm safe from it. But it's like, it'd be like living, like if life was the world, right? It'd be like just staying in your bedroom, in your house the whole time by, you know, letting your fears dictate how you live. It's not really how I want to live my life. I don't want to live my life in a small way. And it's not about like, I need to go out and do loads of stuff. And it's just how I'm living internally. Am I living from a place of spaciousness and expansiveness and stepping out of my comfort zone and stepping into some unknowns? Am I willing to do that? Or am I willing to like let the fear be a weapon against me that's like the greatest weapon of mass destruction, like fear, because it's making my life smaller and smaller and smaller rather than being able to expand beyond it and move into areas of my life that, you know, wouldn't have thought were possible, mentally, internally, externally, all of it.
This is what I like about, I know we're talking about Batman, but I've got to talk about Mortal Kombat. Raiden says, Liu Kang goes to Raiden like, why is Johnny Cage here? He's a fucking idiot. Like, Raiden goes to Johnny, yo, there's more things that are there's some things that are more important than personal glory. And Johnny Cage is like, yeah, shut the fuck up. I want to talk to this blonde chick. And Liu Kang's like, why is he here? And basically, what I get from it is Johnny Cage is the pursuit of glory and coming away from, like, it's away motivation, in it. Like, I want this personal glory to prove that I'm not just some actor. I do all my own stunts, blah blah. It's all about aggrandization of his ego. Whereas, when Liu Kang points it out, Raiden's like, if he grows past that, he will be one of Earth's greatest protectors. And I think it's an invitation for all of us. Like, look at Batman. He's grown past certain fears he has. Now he's Gotham's greatest protectors. The same with us, man. You know, like, if let's say I outgrow the fear of my mom and dad are gonna die, and I started off my relationship building with them from that place. Like, you're gonna die at some point, yeah. Let's stop fucking around. When I outgrew the fear of it and I actually understood why it's beneficial for me to look in that direction, I started treating them totally differently. I started becoming the glue that binds my family together, instead of, when they change, I'll love them.
Yeah.
I think this is why, like, weaponized fear, yes, it might not be nice, but it's good for us. You know, like, it's good for us to put ourselves through these things that don't feel good. And I had this, I've had conversations with Ankush, my coach. I've had conversations with Steve. I told you about, like, the way I want to be coached is, I don't give a shit how uncomfortable it's going to be for me to see or hear these things. Show me. Show me what I'm not seeing. Show me where I'm keeping myself stuck. And I think there's no substitute for that. Yeah,
because again, it then becomes about expansiveness, right? And it's like, again, it's not like loads of stuff is going to change. It's like, you know, if people are showing you these blind spots, right? And you've got coaches and people in your corner that are showing you, loads isn't going to change drastically on the outside, but things will also change on the outside because you're shifting on the inside first. And it's like, you know, I was thinking about, you know, what's his face, Harvey Dent, right? In the movies, like, he goes the other way. You know, he's like the, you know, the face of Gotham, and he's like going to be not the president, the you know,
the mayor.
The mayor, that's it, the mayor of the city and all this stuff. And then, you know, he then becomes Two-Face, and it's like he goes the other way. Like he goes from like, yeah, like, you know, this is like, I'm on the right path and and he goes into fear, and then he becomes like this fucking, you know, like thing with the coin, and he's like, oh, we're gonna let fate play its role, and he's just like, are you gonna live or are you gonna die? Like, I flip the coin, and it's like his life actually becomes smaller because he's no longer like living into what he truly believes in, and he's living into his fears and his worries that actually things can't change. So I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to let fate decide, and I'm going to flip the coin, and I'm going to just be like, bing, okay, let's see what happens, heads or tails.
I'm gonna expose myself, but not with my
Please
clothing.
don't, not on camera.
Not by taking off my clothing. Not on this channel anyway.
That's his OnlyFans page.
Only clients. Can you imagine they should start a coaching platform called Only Clients? Hey, that might be a good one for influencers. All right, we'll put a pin in that. I've been a very two-faced person for basically all of my life, until the last like 5 years, maybe less than that. I don't know, but you know, Two-Face is showing us, oh yeah, you got one side that you present to the world, and then who you really are behind closed doors. And I thought that shit was normal, and it is shit. You know how I feel about the word shit. This is appropriate. It's not. This, like, being two-faced. What is it? It's coming from fear, right? Oh, I can't allow people to see who I really am. I can't just be myself because people won't like that. So I'm going to put on the front. I'm going to put on a show, and then behind closed doors, I'll really be this way. And I've seen this time and time again. Like, it's considered normal to have a mask that you present to the outside world. And the more and more I'm getting rid of that, the more I'm just being unfiltered myself.
Yeah.
The better my life is.
I love that. I remember hearing like years ago, man, like when I was really first getting into like this journey of growth and stuff, like I can't remember if it was in a podcast or on a video or something, but someone said like the real you is like who you are behind closed doors. So it's like, and there's that Japanese thing as well of like, you have three faces. There's the face you show to the world, there's the face that you show to the people closest to you, and then there's a face you only show to yourself. I think that's it. And I heard this thing of like, who are you behind closed doors when no one's looking? That's the real you, you know, that's you at your core. And I remember hearing that and thinking like, fuck, man, like when I go out, like this is like, you know, going back like 7-8 years or something, maybe even 9, like when I go out, yeah, happy as Larry, like one of the lads, like behind closed doors, miserable as fuck, like just miserable, didn't want to do anything, didn't want to talk to anyone, like just sit there like and fucking try and zone out by watching the TV or playing video games or like whatever, like, and that really woke me up to like, holy crap, like I just thought that was normal, innit? I was like, I thought it was normal to like go out and like present myself, you know, jazz hands, present myself, or like, you know.
What the fuck was that?
Well, it's putting on a show, isn't it? It's like, and it's like the jazz hands come out and you're putting on this show and this performance for people, and then when you go home, you're just miserable and like, you know, totally different. Whereas now, like, I wouldn't say I've got it down 100%, but like it's a way smaller gap. Like I'm definitely like, it's definitely closer. The version that I'm being here, the version I'm being when we hang out, the version I'm being with clients, the version I'm being, you know, out in the world, it's very similar to the version that I'm being when I'm just at home chilling with me or me and Shen or whatever.
There are nuances.
Yeah.
There's things that we're going to say on here that we won't say. There's things that we wouldn't say on here that we'll just talk about when the cameras are off.
Yeah.
There's things that you'll do and say with Shen that I hope you don't do and say with me. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I'd hope not as
well. Same with clients. So, you know, like one of my clients, we finished our coaching session and we just walked to the supermarket and we were just chatting, and I was like, yeah, I would consider us mates, even if we weren't coaching, like we would kick it. And he goes to me, Sachin, one thing that I like about you is when we're in coaching sessions, yes, it's all helpful and about me. Outside of it, you're not different. You're just talking about different stuff. I can really see it's not different for you. And we walked past the bus stop, and this guy was wearing a great, like, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a suit or something, but it was like very like flowy and open. And I said to him, excuse me, my brother, you're rocking the shit out of that outfit. You're looking like royalty right now. He goes, yeah, it was £20. I was like, fucking hell, really? And he got on the bus. And my client who I was with was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the nuances, the ways that I'm different in different situations. It's not I'm turning something on and off. It's not two-faced anymore. It's just you're seeing different facets of the diamond that is me.
Yeah. And it's like, do you know what? And it's like when I host my retreats, it's like, you know, coaching
which
retreat.
are fucking awesome, by the way.
Amazing. And it's like one of the main bits of feedback. So on the last day, I always do like a round table. So we go around and we spend time acknowledging everyone who's in the room and, you know, what we appreciate about that person, what do we see about them that's great. And the 2 times I've done it, so this year and last year, 2 of the things that have been said, because we basically spend like 5 days together, like pretty much living together, right, for those 5 days. So you get to see a lot of people. And one of the things that got reflected back to me both times was like, you really do like walk the talk of the stuff that you work around. Like you really are like, you are the work. Like we can see that you're not different. Like when we go out for a walk and we're just chilling, like, yeah, there's nuances like you said, but you're the same. And then when we're in the room and we're doing the coaching sessions and you're leading the conversation, yeah, you're in a role, but you're still the same. And you can see that like you're just living it. And I was like, shit, yeah, that's like one of the best acknowledgements I could ever have. Like, because if that's not the work, then what is, right? To close that gap, like we're saying, and be like authentically us all the time, no matter who's watching or who isn't watching. That's the key.
Modeling what it means to express yourself through the art of being yourself.
Yeah, and
we've all forgotten how to be ourselves.
Yeah. Says us talking about, you know, guys in masks running around beating people up.
Hey, what's that saying? If you ever want to see what a man is truly like, give him a mask and give him power.
Yeah, it's true.
Then it will show his true colors. This is why, you know, like when people have guns and they will have a balaclava, so you'll never know who I am and I got power over you. Yeah, you'll see who they really are. There's some people, I don't know them personally, but I hear stories. I listen to podcasts and stuff, and the people who are really about that gangster shit, they're not showing off their guns. They're not like, hey, look at me. They're very low key. They're very respectful people until it kicks off. Then it's a different story. I was listening to his podcast. Shout out Ralph Barboza. He's a comedian. And he was telling this story about how his family were like big time drug dealers for the cartel. And he goes like, they said to him, oh, like, did you ever want to go into the family business? He goes, nah, man, I knew that wasn't really for me. And they said, oh, but like, did you want to ask questions and stuff? He goes, look, put it this way. There was some rooms that I would be in where I'd be the clown, you know, like making everyone laugh, whatever. Then there was some rooms that I would be in where I just want to keep my head down, not say too much, shut the fuck up and let everyone carry on. And I see this as like, again, this is not like, oh, you're two-faced. It's nuanced. There's certain rooms I'm going to shut the fuck up in, as you saw at your intensive. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know, as you were saying that, it made me think of our good friend Frank Lucas.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, shout out Frank Lucas, American Gangster. So nice little segue, actually, because like, stay tuned for our breakdown on American Gangster. Sick episode. But it's like what you were saying about that, like being like the people who are like really about that life, like they're really subtle and they're not showing things off. That's like Frank Lucas in that movie. And like, we're not going to get into it now because we've already done like a whole breakdown, but like it was just reminding me of that. But yeah, we got anything else on the trilogy before we wrap this thing up?
I like this thing about, you know, I can't remember what movie it's in, but the poor people in Gotham are pissed off with Thomas Wayne. Nah, that's in Joker. Do you remember when they're protesting and all that, and Thomas Wayne's like, oh, fuck off, whatever. That's in Joker. But the point of that is it's so easy to villainize. I don't know if that's the word. I don't even know if that's a word. But to make someone it's what someone stands for. If someone is wealthy, like someone said this about me to someone that I know, they said, I don't like what Sachin stands for in this industry. And they said, what do you mean? They're like, oh, he's about making money. And I'm glad that I'm a stand for prosperity. In my eyes, it's great. But it's, if I villainize that, then it's like that whole thing of the rich have done a great job of convincing everyone that it's not fun or it's not good to be rich.
Yeah.
And it's what keeps people in victim mode for themselves. So you see this with Gotham a lot. Like, there's a lot of problems, there's a lot of crime, and what did the criminals say about the rich people, or what do the bums who live on the street, or all of this stuff? What did they say? Oh yeah, like, it's all right for them fat cats and all this. There's like a us and them mentality. Now, for me personally, I've had that for a long time, until me and my brother had this conversation. Shout out to my brother. We had this conversation one time, and he goes, Sachin, do you know our dad is friends with some really wealthy people? I'm like, yeah. He goes, don't you think we could learn something from them? I'm like, yeah, sure we could. He's like, well, why are we sitting around like drinking with their children instead of asking them questions about how the fuck did you make money? And it just, it dawned on me. I was like, oh my God. Now the language I would use for it is I was judging my dad's friends for how they lived their lives and, following tradition, whatever, instead of looking for the gold in them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big lesson that I get from that whole Thomas Wayne thing. Like, people are pissed off with him and all that. You could learn so much from these people that you apparently don't like if you're just willing to listen and ask them questions that can help you.
Yeah. That's it. And I think and that it comes down to there's gold in everyone, right?
Yeah.
And it's like how are you listening to someone? What's the questions you're asking? How are you engaging with them to be able to extract the gold that's relevant for you? Because the gold, if I sat across the table from someone, let's say Richard Branson, the gold in that is going to be very different for me than it is going to be from, say, like someone else who has a family of 4 to feed or something, right? The goal's going to be very different. But it's like, how are you sitting and listening to that person to listen for the goal, but not only listen for it, like mine for it by asking questions, right? And it's like, I love that. When people say like, oh, if you could have 3 people, dead or alive, come around for dinner, who would it be? Like, I'm going straight in with like gold. Who's the people that I want to just sit down and extract and mine the gold from? Because that's going to make up my table, and it's sick. And the other one I love is, you ever seen the question of like, a million, it's like you can have $1 million or £1 million, or you can have like dinner with Jay-Z or something like that. And it's like, there's such a fascinating question.
Oh, who did they ask? I think they asked like
I've seen it somewhere.
Some rapper or something, innit?
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck Jay-Z.
Yeah, but it's a question that you see floating around, and it's like, most people will go, oh, I'll take the money, right? But what are you learning by taking the money? All right, you could say, well, I could go invest that and hire someone, like, but of course, right? But if you're sat across the table from a serial entrepreneur who's not only been a pioneer in his industry, but has been successful over decades, and you've got an opportunity to sit down at dinner and ask him questions and learn from him, is that more valuable? It's
Bro, I can do a lot of good with $1 million.
I'm sure you could.
I mean, like, I could hire Steve Hardison for like $400K for a year.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's different
coaching.
but most people wouldn't think that. Most people, I'll take the money and I'll spend it on a holiday and like.
I'll tell you straight, bro. If you give me £1 million, yeah, I'm going straight Hardison plus Ankush's school plus going on a couple of retreats. I'm gonna go here, and then I'm gonna take a big chunk of that money, probably like $500K, and buy a couple of properties and just create a rental income. All right, now I don't have to work. Give me the rental income sorted. All right, cool. Now I'm doing this. And I'll go off grid for like 2 years, yeah. Watch me come back after that 2 years. People are gonna be like, "Where the fuck have you been?"
You're gonna come back in Jesus mode again, long hair, long beard, like last time.
Yeah. Oh man, this has been a great episode.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And that's a good way to wrap it up. So, listen, like we said, right? We create these episodes because we want to open a conversation. So if you haven't watched the Batman trilogy, the Christoper Nolan Batman trilogy, Christian Bale, etc., go and watch it. let us know what you've learned from it and from this episode. And if you have watched it, let us know what you got from it, because that's why we're here. We're not just here to look at these cameras and look nice and dress the set all nice and
We
have
do
a
that
nice
anyway. We do a
conversation.
good job of looking pretty.
Yeah, we're here to open the conversation. So come and hit us up, Instagram, TikTok, @NerdLifeCoaches. And if you like this episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and come back for the next one. American Gangster coming soon, just saying. Nerd life.